Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to another video. I am The Unknown, and I'm going to be reviewing a Lego set today. I just bought this yesterday. It is the Battle of Felucia Separatist MTT, the very first Clone Wars MTT. Now, with this set, it comes with, what was that, 1, 2, 3, 9, 12 minifigures, technically. You have Ayla Secura, Commander Bly, a droid pilot, 6 battle droids, and 3 commando droids. And it has 976 pieces for a whopping $160, meaning the price per piece ratio on this thing is not the best. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to go right into the review with the minifigures first. So the first minifigure we got here is Ayla Secura, and though she is a nice looking Jedi, and actually the very first version that I've ever owned, one of the things that I've known watching other reviews such as MNR Productions is the lips are inaccurate, which to me, I'm not really like picky when it comes to accuracy. I just like buying minifigures because I'm a collector. As y'all can see, I have a pretty decent sized collection going on. This is just the collection in my room in Bahrain, not the actual collection I have at home. But yeah, overall, like, I can't really complain. The figure is pretty nice. I do like the details of the like her headpiece and whatnot. Very nice figure, if I do say so myself. The next minifigure, and possibly my favorite, is Commander Bly. And I will say, there are a lot of inaccuracies with this minifigure. However, I don't think it really takes away from the look. Like, yeah, I get it. It's inaccurate, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he still looks like a really good figure, especially with that pauldron piece. I think it makes him look so much better as opposed to, like, the printed pauldron. Like, even, like, him and, like, Commander Cody honestly look really good. I think Commander Cody's probably the best-looking clone commander we've had in a long time. So, yeah. We all know what battle droids look like. We all know what commando droids look like. So, let's just go right into the MTT. The first thing about this MTT, and the very first thing you actually build on this thing is the Stab, I believe it's called. It's a speeder for the battle droids, and I gotta say, it looks pretty nice. The cannons there look really cool. The old speaker pieces for the thrusters look pretty cool. But yeah, overall, I gotta say, this one's actually pretty nice looking. Now we head on over to the very first Clone Wars MTT, and I gotta say, the building experience was pretty nice. Very minimal stickers. There's only 4 stickers. There's one on this side, one on the other side. We have the droid eyes there, and then in the interior we do have the the stickered control panel as well. So yeah, the very first thing to note, obviously, is the very top here. We have the droid eyes, and if you take this off, it reveals the cockpit of the MTT. You have a nice little spot for his blaster there. We have the droid pilot just sitting in there, the stickered cockpit. One of the things that I don't really like, though, is the fact that LEGO downscaled it. Though there's pros and cons to downscaling. The first pro is downscaling, such as, like, you know, the ARC 170 there, or the Ahsoka's Jedi Starfighter. They are very detailed and very structurally built. So I can't really complain about the downscaling too much, though. I mean, let's be real here. The droid is not sitting like this. Let's just be real here. He ain't laying down, you know, looking at the cockpit like he's watching TV. That's just not how a droid's supposed to sit. So that is pretty much the cons of the downscaling. Now, there is a massive printed dish piece here, and I gotta say, it looks really nice, very detailed. The blue matches up almost perfectly. I can't really see a difference between the two colors, so that is nice. We have 2 stud shooters there, and as a collector, I don't put stud shooters in there because I don't really like it, to be honest. Moving on some more, we have the interior. There's not really much going on in the interior, so it's mostly just structure. However, there is a couple of things to note, like the rack of the blasters here. It's honestly kind of stupid how they just integrated it in the freaking structure of the ship or the droid thing, whatever you want to call this thing. But yeah, I mean, it's there. Like, you can't really complain too much. I mean, at least they put it there, right? It's better than not having it. And as you can see, this will also open up to reveal, you know, a spot. And honestly, I just put the droid commandos in there because I don't really want to have all of my droids, like, sticking out and stuff like that when I'm displaying this thing. That's just my personal preference. And the door simply just closes like that, and you can put the stab speeder in there as well. So, one thing, and the most coolest thing about this MTT is the functionality of this thing. Now, I don't own all of the MTTs. This is the very first and the only one I'll ever own. But the other ones have this function where, you know, this entire droid rack comes out, but you have to manually put it back in and restart. However, this one, you don't need to do that. So, as you can see, the droid rack is there. It fits 6 droids, which I know is heavily inaccurate in the movies. Like, in episode 1, you see hundreds of freaking droids coming out. It's like 3 rows of this stuff. Just showing you how downscaled the thing is. Also, to mention these stubby blasters, it honestly looks like... I don't even know what it looks like, to be honest. However, the coolest thing about this MTT, and it's actually one of the first things you build, is the fact that this thing retracts back in manually, and you don't have to, like, push it in. And it does that with this function right here. As you can see, you twist this up, and the droids come out. And how the door goes back in is if you go in here, and I don't know if you guys can see in there, but there is a chain right there. That chain, when you put the droid rack back in, pulls on the door to make it so the door closes automatically. Now, if we take all of the panels off, you can kind of see the functionality in there. Now, if I spin this just like that, you can see that gear piece, and it pushes the thing back and forth, which is how the functionality works. Now, that is honestly the coolest function in a Lego set I have ever seen. I think that, you know, for $160, I gotta say, this is probably one of the best sets, in my opinion. I haven't got the V19 Torrent yet. I haven't gotten the Turbo Tank yet. I've heard so many freaking reviews about the Turbo Tank. However, I want to go into some size comparisons so you guys can get a sense of scale of how big the MTT is. Alright, the first comparison is how big it is compared to the ATTE. And if we put these things side by side, you can just see how small this thing is. It is tiny. It is very, very tiny. However, again, this is probably one of the best looking MTTs. It's the very first Clone Wars one, and honestly, I prefer the blue and gray over the solid brown. I just like the different, you know, color schemes and stuff, as opposed to just one solid color. It honestly looks like a giant turd. But this one, on the other hand, it looks really nice. I love the freaking jagged details there, and the line that goes like this, the gray line. And then, honestly, one of the things I have to notice is the fact that there is literally like no gap here, which I have seen on the other MTTs. Now, this is the smallest MTT of the 4, I believe, that were made. And even though it is the smallest, I still think that this was the best one in terms of functionality and, you know, minifigures and stuff. I know the other MTTs have had more droids and stuff, and honestly, I have seen a lot of YouTubers, a lot of big LEGO YouTubers saying you can fit 8 battle droids in there just fine, and it doesn't, you know, affect the build in any way. So honestly, I don't know why the LEGO designers did this. They're honestly, like, cheaping out when it comes to, like, figures and just, you know, build quality and stuff like that. The build quality's there, but, like, come on now. Like, there's a difference between when this set came out and versus this. Like, there's a huge freaking difference. And this is how big it is compared to the newest version of the ARC 170. And honestly, you really just get a sense of scale of just how small this is. Now, I'm going to compare this to my First Order Star Destroyer. And this is how big it is compared to the First Order Star Destroyer. As you can see, it is longer, it is wider. I do believe that this thing is taller, I think. Okay, so the MTT is a little bit taller, but the Star Destroyer just dwarfs it. If you guys want to see a review on this, let me know. I will be happy to review this along with the other stuff that I have, you know, on my desk, along with the stuff back home once I do go home. But yeah, as you can see, the MTT, very small. However, I think it is a really good Lego set for, you know, the $160. Even though it's not, you know, the best price per piece ratio, this, of all of the August wave sets that came out, this one is for sure worth the money more than the other ones. Anyways, that's all I really got to say about it. Let me know y'all's opinion about this MTT in the comments below. And if you guys want to see the review of the other stuff that I have in my collection, please let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. Peace out.